Okay, many of the selections are inspired by Jack, our wonderful neighbor, and by the neighborhood in general. And it was sort of a hybrid. Jack kept pushing reading my poems. I kept pushing reading other people's poems. So we have a hybrid event. Okay, first poem is by me. Cats. Walking this morning north on Elm, I saw a black cat, sleek. Our paths crossed, our eyes linked. I wanted to be friends, but she did not. I consoled myself with some grooming. Still walking, head lower, till 10 or 20 paces later, a gray tabby trotted near, asked loudly for a visit. I kept walking, but why, I wondered? Why at a faster pace? I'm chasing poems, also by me. Around the house I write them, and then the phone rings or something happens. There they are, but I have moved on. A work in progress, the kind that can't be finished. I could be upstairs with couplets, in the basement, or even out back in the yard. When I find them, it's a trip to the Arctic, to the tropics, or sometimes a walk around the block, or like someone blowing in my ear. And sometimes the poem might take me to the zoo, also by me, made for each other. The cheetahs seemed glad to see me. The pandas suggested I call ahead. Zebras make grass look scrumptious. The wallaby was indisposed. But that's when I met her at the great ape house. Fans both of the lowland gorilla. Tree huggers all, given to chest thumping for no discernible reason. Okay, on to poems that I wish I had written. And you might know this one, and when I say apple pie, you have to substitute blueberry muffins. You know it? All right. The Poet's Occasional Alternative by Grace Paley. I was going to write a poem. I made a pie instead. It took about the same amount of time. Of course, the pie was a final draft. A poem would have had some distance to go, days and weeks and much crumpled paper. The pie already had a talking, tumbling audience among small trucks and fire engines on the kitchen floor. Everybody will like this pie. It will have apples and cranberries, dried apricots in it. Many friends will say, why in the world did you make only one? This does not happen with poems. Because of unreportable sadnesses, I decided to settle this morning for a responsive eatership. I do not want to wait a week, a year, a generation for the right consumer to come along. Okay, also in the categories of I wish I wrote this. This would be Linda Paston, who recently died, and she was a great Montgomery County poet, National Book Award winner. And everybody in the poetry community is already missing her. So by Linda Paston, what we want. What we want is never simple. We move among the things we thought we wanted. A face, a room, an open book. And these things bear our names. Now they want us. But what we want appears in dreams, wearing disguises. We fall past, holding out our arms, and in the morning, our arms ache. We don't remember the dream, but the dream remembers us. It is there all day, as an animal is there under the table, as the stars are there, even in full sun. One of our little library poems. A lot of people love William Stafford, and there are many favorite William Stafford poems out in the world, but this one just won't let go of me. A ritual to read to each other. If you don't know the kind of person I am, and I don't know the kind of person you are, a pattern that others made may prevail in the world, and following the wrong God home, we may miss our star. For there is many a small betrayal in the mind, a shrug that lets the fragile sequence break, sending with shouts the horrible errors of childhood, storming out to play through the broken dike. And as elephants parade, holding each elephant's tail, but if one wanders, the circus won't find the park. I call it cruel, maybe the root of all cruelty, to know what occurs, but not recognize the fact. And so I appeal to a voice, to something shadowy, a remote, important region in all who talk. Though we could fool each other, we should consider, lest the parade of our mutual life get lost in the dark. For it is important that awake people be awake, or a breaking line may discourage them back to sleep. The signals we give, yes or no or maybe, should be clear. The darkness around us is deep. Okay, I timed this to the minute, but then I didn't look at the clock when I started. So. The Bagel by David Ignatow. I stopped to pick up the bagel rolling away in the wind, annoyed with myself for having dropped it as if it were a portent. Faster and faster it rolled, with me running after it. Bent low, gritting my teeth, I found myself doubled over, rolling down the street, head over heels, one complete somersault after another, like a bagel, and strangely happy with myself. And next up, the best-selling poet, I think, in the country for years now, and it's not Mary Oliver or Billy Collins, and I'm going to leave out the Bible. It's Rumi. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. I'll conclude the section before our Father's Day section with My Dead Friends by Marie Howe. I have begun when I'm weary and can't decide an answer to a bewildering question to ask my dead friends for their opinion. Their answer is often immediate and clear. Should I take the job, move to the city? Should I try to conceive a child in my middle age? They stand in unison, shaking their heads and smiling. Whatever leads to joy, they always answer. To more life and less worry. I look into the vase where Billy's ashes were. It's green in there, a green vase, and I ask Billy if I should return the difficult phone call. And he says yes, yes. Billy's already gone through the frightening door. Whatever he says, I'll do. So, Father's Day. And here's the one that's, in a certain way, lots of these poems are about parenting. And I have to admit, when I put the poems in the little library, I'm often thinking of the parents and children that I'm so lucky to be surrounded by in this neighborhood. So, and here's one of mine. So this is very overtly about a father or the relationship. Dad and I are at drug fair. Anybody remember drug fair? It's been a while since drug fair. But I guess before CVS maybe you would have gone to drug fair. But drug fair was even more sprawling. This was back in the days of shopping in person. Dad and I are at drug fair. It's where we hiked, trailing from paper goods to cleaning products, snack food to paperbacks. What do you think? He asks, and he's holding something up. I can barely stand to look. It's for me, and it's from drug fair. It's not where girls my age shop. Honestly, Dad, look, it's not well made. Not the jacket, not even the plastic hanger that seemed it would break under the weight of a proper windbreaker. The sort I might well have worn that very night to go to the movies. My first date. Just me and my shaggy-haired beau. The longer I looked, the more I hated the whole idea. I hate drug fair. I hate every single thing, from cleaning goods to paper products. Can't we be in the car? In the car talking. There are words hanging, and I want us to go find them.
Nice.
Two more. Good Bones by Maggie Smith. Do people know this one? It became popular during the pandemic, and it just seems to speak so directly still to this moment in time. Maggie Smith. She's written a memoir since and talked about how difficult her life became after she became so famous for having written this poem. Strange times we live in. Good Bones by Maggie Smith. Life is short, though I keep this from my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine in 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. 1,000 deliciously ill-advised ways I'll keep from my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's a conservative estimate, though I keep this from my children. For every bird, there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short, and the world is at least half terrible. And for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you, though I keep this from my children. I am trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor walking you through a real shithole chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. And the last poem is especially dedicated to Jack and my other wonderful neighbors, but I was certainly thinking of Jack when I chose it. It's by Rosemary Watola Chalmer, and it's called Kindness. And if you don't know Naomi, she have nice poem, Kindness. You want to go find that. But this is also called Kindness. Consider the tulip. How long ago someone's hands planted a bulb and gave to this place a living scrap of beauty. How it rises every spring out of the same soil, which is of course not at all the same soil, but new. Consider the 6 red petals, the yellow at the center, the soft green rubber of the stem, how it bows to the world, how the longer you sit beside the tulip, you want to bow too. It is this way with kindness. Someone plants in someone else a bit of beauty, a kind word perhaps, or a touch, the gift of their time or their smile. And years later, in that inner soil, that beauty emerges again, pushing aside the dead leaves, insisting on loveliness, a celebration of the one who planted it, the one who perceives it, and the fertile place where it has grown. Thank you, guys.